Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, to the Shire of Carnarvon Special Council meeting Thursday, the 2nd of June 2022. Councillors, I'll refer you to your agendas. Item 1, attendances, apologies and approved leave of absence. We have apologies from Councillor Vandeleur, who is ill, Councillor Langley, who is busy, and Councillor Cottrell, who is also busy. Unfortunately, there's no apologies. Oh, there is, 3 apologies, sorry. Public question time. Is there any questions from the public? There being no questions, thank you. We'll move right on. Declarations of interest. I don't think there's a declaration of interest of common in this agenda item, I believe. Items for discussions, presentations. The community jury will be presenting council with their recommendations and report for the Strategic Community Plan 2022 and 2026.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Councillors, thank you for having us here for the presentation. I would like to do a quick acknowledgement of country to the traditional custodians and pay my respect to the First First Nation people and specifically to the local elders, Ingado elders, and emerging. With that being said, it's my duty here today to start our presentation with the overall vision that our community jury has come up with. We spent many hours deliberating over words, making sure that our point was on point and not exceeding what we knew we could really accomplish within the next decade or so in Carnarvon for 6701 to grow our horizons. So I'll start with the vision that we broke down and spent some time doing, and Carnarvon will be a place where our community. Rob, could you put that for me? Thanks, Brenda. Carnarvon will be a place where our community is safe and harmonious. Our livelihoods are thriving. Our lifestyles are sustainable. Our health and learning opportunities serve our community. Our places nurture our past, our present, and our future. Our community is engaged, inclusive, and supportive. So specifically, we grow our horizons. This has been broken down even further to be a bit more specific as to what those basic, although they seem short and concise sentences of the vision, we really had a lot of deliberation and discussion and making sure, and this is a bit more of a breakdown of what these points mean to help us move forward and have a definition. So to start with, our equitable community is actively involved in and are responsible for developing innovative local solutions that transcend our region for a safe and unified 6701. Our economy fosters investment and productivity in industries befitting Carnarvon's physical and natural environment and that are tailored and relevant to the individual. Our infrastructure, housing, and amenities are high quality and accessible. Our community acknowledges our history and celebrates our diverse cultures. Our community is engaged, inclusive, and supportive. This was also broken down one more time through a very big group discussion about picking our values, what was important, and this round robin went around for a little bit and we ranked them, and from the point system this is what was considered to be part of the things that were important to the community jury as well, taking how it could overarch and be part of our values. So firstly it would be respect, which really came out on top through the voting system, integrity, sustainability, unified or unity, communication, and to be harmonious. So overall, that's my portion done. I know you'll have time to really look and see, but the the month that we spent together, or the 3 weeks and all those hours, was really in the process of breaking down and getting to that point to present to you today. Now Jessica will come up and discuss a little bit more, and everybody will discuss how we really got to that point. So thank you.
Greetings, Council. All right, so my section to present is about what we felt we want the council and us as a community to focus on, what we want to keep or protect, and what we feel needs to change. So up on the slide there and in your in the actual plan, you've got the full breakdown, but we'll just move on to the next slide, please, Rob. One thing we did once, we ended up going around in groups and we all came up with the things that we felt we needed to focus on to start with. And then we were given 100 points each and we were told to prioritise what we felt we needed to focus on. You can see there that one of the biggest things that comes out on top is that we need to deal with the antisocial behaviour by engaging with the community, and the rest of that sentence is to figure out permanent solutions, encourage school attendance, engage with parents and promote positive examples rather than chasing up the negative. I think that overall was a really strong theme throughout our 3 days, but moving on to the next closest little cluster there is that we also need to focus on the access to childcare facilities, including before and after school care. We need to create a safer community, which does actually tie in with the first point. And we need to focus on improving the availability, accessibility, quality and livability of housing. Next, we had what we want to keep and protect. So we did the same thing for all of these 3 things. So if we go to how they ranked overall, our top one was that we need to protect our environment, fisheries and wildlife. And we need to protect our elderly citizens and our children and youth, and we need to protect our local businesses. With what we want or what we feel has to change, again, the antisocial behaviour and the local crime did come out on top for that one again. But very close and kind of tying in with that was that we need to change the way we engage and support families and parents of juvenile offenders. I'll just find the rest of this sentence. Sorry. Yep. Parents need to be given the rights back to raise the children how they were traditionally raised to regain the control of their children. And then we need to better promote Carnarvon as a tourist destination and improve the town's appearance and appeal by public artwork, tree planting, physical advertising, maintaining clean public amenities, etc. Just like to say that out of all of those things, it wasn't necessarily that we felt these things weren't already being done. It was just that the sense of the community sense that these are things that we need to continue to work on. Thank you very much.
Good evening, all. I seem to have the easier job. With our big ideas, we basically prioritised them. So we worked from 1, which was the weakest, to 5 being the strongest. We went through, you had all your ones, I think it was around about 6, all up. We also came along and we created some ourselves. So what you'll actually find in this slide is on the left-hand side is basically your ones, and on the right-hand side is ours. So I'll read through them. With the social and judging big ideas, we basically came up with creating an improved sense of community driven by a growing population in a safe, livable environment, and an immediate, that is immediate and ongoing. That was your one. With ours, we wanted to sort of broaden it a little bit, and we basically came up with contributes to the town's reputation, encouraging a positive outlook and appeal as a place to live, work, play, and invest. The economic, community benefit and satisfaction versus financial costs, capital, and ongoing for life of the asset. Our one was boost local economy and create sustainable long-term local employment opportunities for the lifespan of the big idea. With the environment, respects and protects native culture, wildlife and environmental heritage, maintaining the region's beauty and encourages educational opportunities and accessibility. Sustains natural environments, balancing historic, current and future community use while minimising environmental negative impacts. I then go on to, we came up with short-term ideas that were actually given to us, and we basically rated them, one being least, 5 being best, and we basically rated them to, and I think you can actually see it on Massey Bay and coastal attractions, came in fairly low at 498, and the RV friendly park came up at 459. There was also the Whitlock Island in, development and the Scene Waterways, which came in at 450. The biggest one was basically the ranges and Indigenous ranges. That basically, scored very well with our community jury. Now, I'm actually going to now go through all the individuals, the actual ideas with the overall comments, and then what we believe the steps should be taken for those to further carry on and progress. With the Massey Bay and coastal attractions, low scores socially and economically, as it is not a well-known area, and potentially only benefits a select few, including local fishermen and a small number of tourists. We all agree, though, that Massey Bay is an unattractive site and it detracts from the town as a whole. Our steps to improve it: clean up the area, remove litter and install rubbish bins at most popular sites, and also conduct a soil and environment study for further development. The RV friendly park. We had benefits to tourists, not specifically to community social benefits versus financial costs. Doesn't easily compare. Our steps, there's quite a few. Parking currently being built requires assessment of environment suitability and costing. May have some economic benefit. Can we enhance the area beyond Woolshed to accomplish some of the things of the proposal actually brings up? Van Dodgen Park does not have services, and it is the main drainage side of the town, being that when we have heavy rains, all the water seems to accumulate to that spot. Try to also use the town oval to have more social benefits for locals. Don't use all of the oval. Van Dodgen Park can be revitalised with the garden club. Now, with the actual oval, the town oval, just a note that there are all the facilities there. You've got your sewage, you've got your water, you've got your amenities, your toilets and showers and whatever. So that's actually a good spot, least cost effective, or costing, being that all the facilities are already there. But we'd still prefer to have sort of half the oval, mainly for kids, playground, things like that. People out there, they walk their dogs, run around the oval. So if we only sort of do half and then maybe look at behind the community centre, or I'm trying to remember where it is, opposite the post office, I think the other proposal. The next one was the youth patrol and hostel, safe house, relevant to every person in the community. This initiative can help resolve many other local issues. No negative impact, downsides to the community, save a lot of money in the long term, i.e. insurance rates go down, less damage and repair. Create a business plan with passionate stakeholders who have deep experience in this area, work with other organisations that have common interests in this. There are, what we did discuss was there was a lot of different organisations out there, but they just weren't utilised. Everybody seems to go on their own sort of path. Also apply for funding to the state and federal governments. Ranges and Indigenous ranges to be introduced at school age level. Junior Ranger program, for example. Great benefits to ensure the sustainability of our local culture, heritage and environment. Rotate between Coral Bay and Carnarvon. Create a program to develop a relationship between our educational system and local Indigenous people with support from the Shire. This will become a multi-agency initiative, including DBCA, Department of Fisheries, DPERB, etc., etc. Carnarvon childcare doesn't pertain to the environment side of things at all. There is a question about whether the childcare is affordable. We have a lot of debate as to how much it's actually costing parents to actually put their kids in, as to staying at home and only one working or two working. This is distinct. This is distinct from the fact that more childcare is needed. Program to be established over a period of time. The steps: more industry workers required. Higher government subsidies for the industry in general. Surveys to parents regarding possible improvements, agendas for childcare, possible improvement for the education department, for school-based facilities, continue to talk with existing provider and seek proposal for extensive action plan. Okay. And finally, Whitlock Island development and Cassim waterways. These should be two different big ideas. One is for waterway versus the resort. Aspects such as cultural significance and natural environment, i.e. burrowing bees are actually there, and there's a couple of other sort of animals. First steps, break it down into stages so that we can fairly rate the idea and communicate with the community a little bit better on the issue. And that's me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.
Alright, so the next thing we looked at was big ideas for the long term, not the short term. So we did the same process again, of rating each idea as to the social, economic and environmental. The one that came out on top was the idea to aim towards 100% renewable. Obviously, this is a very long-term idea, and it would be a very much cooperative initiative between multiple different industries. So it did score quite highly. It's very much a focus for everyone at the moment, I believe, especially young people as well. We decided to change it rather than being 100% renewable to aiming towards, because we believe that there could be possible roadblocks in the way, such as working with Horizon Power and also funding. It's quite an expensive investment. So one idea that we had was to possibly look for potential private investments to take away from the local costs. But yes, we don't know how long of a time frame there would be on that kind of thing. But yeah, we think it's a very important idea. The next one was the Carnarvon Industrial Manufacturing Precinct. It was our second highest. It did score quite low in environmental because there could be possible problems with that. But it is a big scale, long-term idea, and it definitely would rely on funding within the region and outside the region. But it would also bring money to the region by establishing ourselves as a hub for the exports out of this area. It also could be tied into things like the airport and the leisure import as well. We think that this is going to rely on many companies, not just one, not just the Shire, not just state or companies, but it would be a cooperation, again, between many different industries. And the Recycling and Processing Centre, also along with the renewable idea. It could also be in conjunction with the hub, the idea of recycling things from there, bringing things in that we could recycle in Carnarvon as a location. We could start with different bins, different coloured bins and different colours in the streets. And we think contacting the existing recycling centres would be a very good step to start the process and see where do we start, what's involved, what kind of costs is involved. Yeah, all of these are good ideas. We all agreed that they were good ideas. Some are just sort of higher rated than others, but we think it gives a good place for everyone to start looking and see what we can do with their ideas.
Okay. Good evening, councillors and CEO. And I'd just like to start by thanking you guys for giving us this opportunity and to be a part of the Carnarvon Community Jury. I really enjoyed being a part of it and planning our future for Carnarvon. And yeah, so Tracy and I are presenting the last part today. This activity, it's additional things to look at. This was the last activity we done over the 3 weeks. It was other things that were discussed during the whole 3 weeks, but we put a bit more focus onto it in the last session. And there was a focus on youth, the focus on drugs and alcohol, the focus on Coral Bay areas outside the Carnarvon Township, improving trust between the people and the local government, and monitoring implementation of our participant report. So that's just our report that we're just presenting to you guys. We want to make sure that it gets looked at and not just shoved away in the cupboard somewhere. So, so the additional actions with the youth, we want to make some positive difference to the issues of the youth. We all know that there's lots of issues going around with the youth today, and we're all banging our heads together to try and see, come up with ideas of how we can all work together and try and fix it. So describing the action in less than 50 words, we identify some of the elders that are specific to each family or young person, and we get them to help reconnect the youth to country, like maybe take them out on camps and teach them some of the old ways that we grew up with as kids. Try and instill those back into our youth of today. And also the parents need to be made more accountable for their kids' actions. Like the kids are going around getting up all sorts of mischief, and the parents, they don't seem to care. So all of us as the jury, we all agreed that the parents need to be made more accountable, such as like restorative justice or whatever. In-school suspensions was another one that we discussed in length. Like instead of the kids being suspended outside of the school, which is what they all want, have a special class in the school where they can do their suspensions and still get made to do their schoolwork. And what's the community's role in these? We'd like all the businesses to try and enforce the no school, no entry policy. And the police to have a bit more engagement in the community. I think that's been happening just a little bit, but we want to see it more. And more sexual health education in the schools. We've got quite a number of young girls with babies, or teenagers that should be still at school. And I think we need a bit more sex education in the school, teaching the kids, about the birds and the bees. And also the local AMS should have more presence in the school as well. Because from reports and coming from the school, there's heaps of kids going to school full of sores, and some of them get turned away from school, and the parents aren't taking them to the AMS to, deal with the issues. So that's why we need to try and get the AMS to be out there doing visits at the schools, maybe weekly. And what's the Shire's role in these actions? Reopen the youth hub. We know there's been a shortage of staff, so hopefully as of next Friday we might be able to fix that a bit. And also we suggested that if the kid hasn't been to school for the day, that they can't go into the hub in the afternoon. And
Unless they do schoolwork.
sorry?
Unless they do schoolwork.
Yeah. And also consider the no school, no pool policy. Yeah. So I think that's. I didn't do that. Also, we had a couple of young people from Coral Bay that were on the jury as well. So yeah, I think they had more discussions around the Coral Bay area. So describing the action improving the living conditions for the workers and business owners of Coral Bay, and improve the road safety. It's hard to involve the community from Carnarvon, but Coral Bay residents must advocate implementation for their rights of living. Motorists and tourists to drive safely and be aware of hazards in the regional areas. The Shire's actions, I'm not going to say too much because you can all read what we got there, and I just don't want to read straight. So, I'm going to hand it over to Tracy now to do her bit.
Okay. Thank you for giving us this time. Mine is drug and alcohol. It's a big issue, big problem. Been there, done that. The community roles, the community role, we don't expect it's all the Shire. We as a community have to work together as one. So the community role is to support the Shire education programs targeting youth, to the victim, family, abusers, addict, support the banned drinker register. I mean, that's a big thing that, yes, we all for that. To limit restrict the alcohol served at a selected instead of the whole community. I'm for that 100%. Shire, more advertising of drugs and alcohol support, current available, develop a drug and alcohol education program, which you've got to work in partnership with the school to impact the drug and alcohol use. It might be helpful to separate these issues if they have different effects on different groups. There is a possibility of changing containers from glass and the damage in the litter. Examine the issue of trouble spots occurring around pub closure, a community bus, just to bring everyone home safe. Then we know they're home safe with all the crime that's happening after the pub shuts. Improving trust between citizens and the Shire. Well, this is what we came up with. Host regular monthly community engagement nights to allow the Shire to present their key focuses for the past month and the next month, and allow the community to provide feedbacks, a Q&A, but relaxed, similar to the business after hours. Have one focus of the night to be decided by Facebook, polls and similar events. Community role is to participate. Provide constructive feedback and help brainstorm the solution. Don't just be a negative Nelly or a keyboard warrior, which we see all the time. Shire's role in this action: facilitate and provide transparency, act on the feedback and help find suitable solutions to local issues through an open communication. Do what you say you're going to do, and if something isn't possible, inform, educate the community. Don't just blame external agencies. Other key notes from the group: information communication to be accessible and easy to understand, layman terms, use multiple communication platforms to engage, improve education through the community on where they can find information relevant to them. Action that will enable monitoring of the implementation of our community strategic plan. The strategic community plan will provide an overview of projects for the next 4 years. The Shire to provide 6 monthly project status updates, including action plan, timeframes, budget. The community role: review, report, and email feedback. Provide reports and update every 6 months. Provide 1-page total, not 2 resource intents. High-level milestones, due dates, whether the project is on track, department responsible for delivery, budget to date, any constraints, achievements, objective for the next 6 months. Set expectation about what is reasonable time frame for the rollout of a strategic plan. within 3 months of a schedule and corporate business plan. That's our report. I would like to say it was an honour and privilege to sit with the Carnarvon jury. We learned a lot from each other. We all come from different backgrounds, and we just sat as one, and this is for the betterment of Carnarvon, to move forward, work together with the Shire and for everyone. So thank you for your time.
So, with that, councillors, referring back to your agendas, we item 5, matters for which the meeting will be closed to the public. There is none. Before I go into the final part, I must thank the jury again for such a wonderful effort. You gave up a lot of personal time. You've done a fantastic job of it. Every time I walked into that room, which wasn't that often, but it was absolutely wonderful to see you all totally engaged and doing something for the whole town. I'm so proud of you all. It's just absolutely amazing, and I can't say thank you enough. The other people I have to acknowledge are Professor Janet Harps-Karp and Dr. Rob Weymouth. To the two of you, I don't think this would have happened without you. I can't thank you enough. It's wonderful. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, the meeting is closed.